Oh, wow. This is what I actually look like? Holy cow. What's up, everybody? John Marks here. Like, comment, follow, subscribe at John Marks Media across all social media channels and here on YouTube. Someone gave me that advice today, and they said always at the end of if you notice when you watch YouTube videos, they always say like, follow, subscribe, whatever, because they want to remind you at the end of the video to do that. So if you're watching right now, maybe you're watching on Twitter Live, go to the YouTube and like and comment and subscribe to my channel. What is up, everybody? Missed last night's show. I was out doing something, had a professional appointment, and when I realized what time I was probably going to be done, I texted Steve earlier in the afternoon, and I'm like, yeah, I'm probably not going to make it back. So I don't really have I'm not going to tweet out, hey, I'm not doing my show tonight. You'll just see that I'm not doing it, but I apologize. We're back tonight wearing a Williamsport cross color. You can't see it because it's stupid. And Steve, people finally realized, Delco Steve's here with me tonight. People finally realized that this isn't really my living room. I went
trade's over.
I went on yesterday. My buddy Glenn Irby, who everybody accused of being baked on the interview, which he was not. I think he was just tired or had allergies. But there were people being like, "Go over and play the piano," and I'm like, "All right, I'm going to let you in on a little something. This isn't really my house. This is a stock background. StreamYard, what we're using right now, which puts it out to YouTube and to Twitter and everywhere else, it has like two standard backgrounds. You can use a brick wall or this. So I chose to use this because I didn't like the brick wall. Delco Steve is the natural background. Whatever that is up on the wall. Yeah, you're in your kitchen.
Little compass.
Does it still smell like fillets and carrots from last night and mac and cheese?
Nah, the dinner smell is all gone.
All right. Well, there you go. We'll maybe get a recap from another date. Man, it seems like that we're just going to be having date recaps every other night here with Delco Steve and his new girlfriend. But yeah. So the Saquon Barkley talk is, I'm assuming that they were talking about it on sports radio today. And listen, we'll talk a little bit about Jason Kelce and maybe where he stands historically in Philadelphia. But let me say this about Saquon Barkley, because a lot of times this time of year, it's silly season, whether it's the draft, whether it's free agency, and you just get rumors that are put out there for no good reason other than it's something interesting to talk about, right? And I'm all for it. NFL insiders nationally aren't necessarily putting out real news. They're just kind of connecting dots. And there's actually one writer in New York that was connecting a dot to the Philadelphia Eagles. So I don't believe he actually had real information that Howie Roseman is ready to pounce on Saquon Barkley. Maybe he spoke to the agent, and Saquon Barkley's agent says, yeah, the Eagles are probably going to be interested. The Cowboys could be interested, because who doesn't want that kind of a story? But I just think it makes a lot of sense for Howie Roseman and the Eagles to be interested and it'll happen in one particular way. It'll happen one way. If there's not a big market for Saquon Barkley, and we've seen running backs in many more years than once that you thought that they were going to have at least a little bit of a market, and they didn't have a market at all. Derrick Henry's most likely going to be on the open market, so he's not the only player. And he also comes with...
There's a lot of running backs this year.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a lot of options, and there's also the injury factor from Saquon Barkley. So, however, Howie Roseman has shown that given the opportunity to where he says that's good value on a one-year contract, we're not giving him multiple years. We don't have to worry about it after this year. Saquon Barkley is a good player, and he makes your team significantly better. And I know Swift was fine last year. I didn't like how the offense was in general, especially the last half of last year with running the football. He still ran for a lot of yards. Right now, they only have Kenny Gainwell on the roster. Saquon Barkley makes a lot of sense for this team at the right contract number. And I think the number is a one-year contract so they can move on after this year. I'd be all for it. I'm not giving them multiple years. I value the running back. I value the running back more than maybe a lot of people do, but I'm not going to go crazy over it. I'd love to go year to year with a running back. LeGarrette Blount was a one-year contract. It's totally different than Saquon Barkley. LeGarrette Blount was a journeyman at that point. I don't mind going year to year and even having a running back rotation. Saquon Barkley is a weapon, in particular out of the backfield in the passing game, that I thought we were going to see out of Swift last year that we didn't. So maybe with a new offensive coordinator and a new way of doing things, he could really be a weapon. Will it happen? I think he's going to have more of a market than the Eagles are willing to give him. But I don't think it's going to be a great market. And the Eagles and Howie Roseman are going to have to decide how far they're willing to go into that market if this is something they're willing to do. Delco Steve, would you be interested in Saquon Barkley?
I would be interested at the right number. I would actually go term a little bit, unlike you. I would give him, like, if he wanted to do something similar to what Miles Sanders did, I don't know how much he'd come down to that. I think Sanders got like 3 years at $6 million a year ish, give or take. If he did something like that, I would go 3 years. But to your point, I would do a bigger 1-year deal. But
what's he getting? What's he getting? 8, 10?
He got 10. Like he got 10 last year on the
with the franchise tag. But like
and boosted up a bit too from
sure.
the time.
Sure, and look at what it did for the team. They didn't have a quarterback, and Saquon Barkley's. It doesn't matter, right? He could be a good player all he wants without a quarterback. As long as it's a 1-year contract, it
doesn't matter what the number. It doesn't matter what the number is if it's a 1-year deal and it fits into the cap.
Yeah, I don't care. It can be whatever. They can cook the contract however they want to. I do value the running back and the fact that there is a hole in the roster. And here's the other thing. They don't draft running backs particularly well.
They are terrible at it.
Yeah.
They are terrible at it. And it drives me crazy.
Well, I mean, so Barkley isn't taking another 1-year deal, but if there's not a big market out there for him, and perhaps a team that isn't an upper echelon team or doesn't feel like Saquon Barkley might want to go to a winning organization at this point. He might be tired of. I know they made the playoffs with the Giants last year, but before that, not really, and he had been injured. I'm not telling you that Saquon Barkley is going to say, hey, yeah, I'll take this fit deal with the Eagles and I'll go play there when there's these other multi-year offers on the table. But if the market doesn't develop for him, and let's be honest, the running back markets don't develop. He's not getting a ton of money. That's why last year when he was balking at signing the franchise tag, I was saying, Saquon, I understand, man. If you're a running back, you must be pissed. Like if you have a kid who's a star football player who's got a chance and is really athletic, they're playing wide receiver these days. They're not playing running back. That's why you're seeing like a Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel 15 years ago, 10 years ago would have been a running back. He doesn't. I mean, he's like a kind of a taller running back playing wide receiver. So everybody's going to play wide receiver. You're not going to get the star player playing running back. When I was growing up, the star player played running back. The best team on the player was the running back. The highest paid player was the running back. The quarterback wasn't an afterthought, but the quarterback wasn't the star. The running back was the star. It's not like that anymore. Obviously, we know that. But it doesn't mean that a player can't be impactful like Saquon Barkley. But like I'm not giving him – what team out there is going to give him a 3-year deal for $40 million or $30 million?
I can see the Texans doing it. Not 40, 30.
Well, they had – who did they have at the end of last year? They had
Singletary and Pierce.
Yeah, and Pierce sucked. Yep. And Singletary was pretty good, but all right. Yeah, but like, see, I'm not giving him – I'm not giving him
there's a lot
$30 million guaranteed.
There's a lot to that, though. It's more the leadership. It's the veteran presence in that locker room. It brings a different dynamic to that offense. So you're paying him for all those things as well as his talent.
And he's injury prone, which is –
But that's someone that's a team that could be a contender that he'd be interested in that would also be willing to pay him, unlike a team like the Eagles or the Cowboys that would just give him a 1-year deal.
Back to the Eagles and drafting running backs. If I felt like this team could find a 5th round or a 6th round pick, I mean, I could go down and I could look right now at all the running backs and where they were drafted, and I'm definitely not opposed to. Running back stats NFL. Let me see. I'm definitely not opposed to using a higher draft pick on a really good running back, but teams all the time draft or don't even draft these running backs, and they do absolutely fine with them. I mean, if you look at the teams like Kansas City, their starter was a 7th round draft pick. They used a 1st rounder on what's his nuts, but he sucked. They never got anything out of him. So most yards in the NFL last year by a running back. Christian McCaffrey, who obviously was a high 1st round draft pick.
8th overall pick.
Derrick Henry was 2nd.
He was early second.
Early second round. So that's two relatively high picks, and they've both been one of the best running backs. Kyron Williams,
He was
the
a
Rams,
5th round. I think he was a 5th round pick.
5th round pick, correct. DeAndre Swift was a high second. Connor was a late draft pick.
I believe. Well, Connor would have been higher. He had the cancer diagnosis. I think he ended up going in. I think he went in the
7th
4th.
round.
Did he go that late?
No, it's 3rd round. It was the Donnell Pumphrey draft where the Eagles drafted the.
Dude, there's so many good running backs.
Yeah.
There's so many good. Aaron Jones was in that draft. Jamal Williams was in that draft. Matt Breida, who he's not even that great, but he's way better than Darnell Pumphrey was in that draft.
Yeah.
The list Eckler was in that draft. Yep. Eckler wasn't even drafted in that draft.
Joe Mixon was in that draft.
Yep.
So that's why
stacked with running backs.
When we say I don't have the confidence they can draft and develop a running back, then that's all you need to do is look at that draft and the wide receiver draft. Remember when they passed on Reggie Wayne and Chad Johnson? Was that Freddie Mitchell, the Freddie Mitchell draft? That's the one you always go back to. The Arcega-Whiteside draft. They always draft the wrong guy.
At one point, I think our receivers could have been Devontae Adams, Jefferson, and DK Metcalf. If they drafted the right guy when they drafted wide receivers.
Right. Miles was the second. That was that the first year of Doug? The second year of Doug? I don't know when Miles Sanders was, but all the other guys he mentioned
was after the Super Bowl, wasn't it? Sanders was after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so. That's what I'm saying. I think it was 18.
So it had to be. Yeah. It had to be the 3rd year.
Yes. Yeah, because he just had his 5th year in this league was this year. Because he had 4 years with the Eagles and then the first year with Carolina. And by the way, that's a terrible signing by Carolina. He did nothing down there.
No.
So
he got benched again for Chuba Hubbard, who's been there for years.
All right, so yes or no, let's say Saquon Barkley. How far are you willing to go?
I wouldn't go past 10, like you said.
I would do 1 year, $10 million.
He's not even the running back I'd want right now in the free agent class. Give me Tony Pollard.
2019 was Miles. I mean, I would. Joe Mixon's going to get released, so he could come in. I'm absolutely fine going year to year. I'd be fine with going Joe Mixon. He can give you 10 to 15 carries. He's in between the tackles, runner. He'll get you tough yards. He's not going to average over 5 yards a carry or anything like that. See, that's where you have to. I like the committee approach of the running back. I'm fine with the committee approach of the running back, but
you got to have the right balance of guys to do it.
You got to have the right fit.
Like Swift and Gainwell isn't a right balance.
Not the right fit. Nope. LeGarrette Blount and Swift, good. Yeah. That'd be a good balance.
Like the old Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara. That's a perfect committee.
Yep. So brother Paul doesn't like the hat. And
you are wearing a little slanted there.
I'm sorry, I didn't. It didn't look
other
good.
way. You got to pull it the other way.
So I had my camo Phillies hat on, which is a snapback. I like snapbacks.
Did it blend in with your CGI?
It didn't. Well, no, it didn't blend in with this flannel. It clashed, which I didn't realize.
You are wearing a lot of red right now.
I grabbed the because I'm wearing a Philly shirt, so I grabbed the crosscutters hat. I didn't realize. I forgot it wasn't a snapback, and I hate this right here, so it looked sillier. So that's what I put on the crosscutters, who, by the way, are no longer a member of the Phillies organization. The crosscutters, when they did away with some of the minor leagues, they were a short season single A minor league, so they only played like half of a season. A lot of after the draft, they would send the drafted players to Williamsport. So now they're an independent team up in Williamsport.
Okay,
I've seen a game up there. It's almost like a high school stadium. So, but I'm wearing the crosscutters hat. All right, so comment right here what you would do with Saquon Barkley. Also, when you're subscribing and liking, put it in the comments whether you think that the crosscutters, that Saquon Barkley, it would be a good fit on a 1 year contract. Or I'm not going 3 years with Saquon Barkley, period. I'm not going obviously 5 years, but even 3 years to me, unless it's a bogus contract, like we'll talk about in a second, where it's really a 1 year contract and then the numbers are inflated because they're trying to.
They have the void years on the end.
Right. Like a 3 year, it's always the guaranteed money. So if it's a 3 year, $30 million contract, but $15 million is guaranteed, they're essentially guaranteeing 1.5 years. And they don't mind moving on the second year if it didn't work out. Which leads me to So Zach Ertz. How about Zach Ertz signing with the
Oh my
Commanders?
God.
Are you upset with him, Delco Steve?
I'm annoyed. I'm definitely annoyed.
But if there was no other team in the league that would be interested in him,
how do we know that's the case? If that's the case, then sure, give it to him. But how does come on?
All right. So here's why
that organization's a clown organization anyway.
Here's why I don't believe that he was going to have a big market, because after he got cut last year, nobody had interest in him. Teams that had tight end holes, like the Ravens, like the Eagles, didn't even bring him in. Now, I had heard that Ertz is well liked, but his last year in Philly, everything that went on with him not being happy about a new contract and maybe angered some people in the organization. But also, I don't know how good of a veteran he was to Dallas Goedert. I don't know how comfortable. Like I don't know. That's some of the things you hear is that for what he's going to produce now at this stage of his career, he's not worth bringing in. I mean, think about it. They elected to
didn't want him on the Eagles.
But if you have a need and you have Cal Katera and Jack Stoll out there as your other tight ends, and whatever that other guy's name is that they already re-signed.
Alberto.
Yeah,
Alberto. I'm not even going to try to say that last name.
Right. But yeah. So you obviously had a need, but they weren't. Everybody thought they'll sign Zach Ertz. No one picked him up. So here's what I'll say, and here's how you can tell, because the contract, and I always love how they try to do this, but it never gets past me. A 1-year contract up to $5 million, up to $5 million. So if he reaches every incentive and plays 17 games and they win the Super Bowl, he'll make $5 million. Yeah. Otherwise, he's making $1.5 million. So I'll be curious to see what that contract really is. Because when you see because I already had someone say, Ertz got a 1-year, $5 million deal. He didn't get a $5 million deal, Holmes. There's no way he made $5. If he reaches incentives that probably aren't reachable, he might be able to make $2.5 or $3 million based on some incentives. He ain't getting $5 million from Washington.
There's probably a couple low branch ones that he can clear very quickly.
Yeah, just if he stays healthy and he's relatively productive. I don't even know if
he dresses for 8 games and gets something.
Right. Yeah, he did. He dyed his hair blonde. Yeah, he was a little bit of a pain in the ass that last year. He was when you win a Super Bowl and you're one of the better players at your position in the franchise history, you want to be rewarded for it with another contract. Unfortunately for a lot of these players, the NFL is very unforgiving. We just mentioned the running backs. You can be a great running back and the league doesn't really want you or value you. Like, imagine if you're in another sport. Relief pitchers are making $15 million a year. Freaking baseball relief pitchers. Not even closers. Bad starters are making double digits. The average outfielders are making double digits in baseball. You got a guy like Saquon Barkley, who the number 1 overall pick, or was he number 1 overall? No, he was. Well, I mean, he was second, right?
Saquon was 2.
Yeah, and teams don't even really want him. The Giants are here's a franchise tag. Screw you, whatever. So I get Zach Ertz would want another contract, and he was pissed off about it. Dude, go play tennis or something. Go play baseball. So in the NFL, they know when you're regressing, and it would have been his 3rd contract. Guys don't get big 3rd contracts. So.
Yeah, and he had the original monster tight end contract. So
he got it. He got the big. You're lucky if you get your first contract and a big second contract. That's what, with a lot of these running backs, and Derrick Henry was smart. He got the money when he could have. Instead of being no, I'm better than this. I'm the best offensive player on the team. You're going to have to pay me more like a quarterback. He realized what his market was going to be, and he took the money. And that's what Saquon, that's signing the franchise tag last year, because he was talking about, I'm not going to sign the franchise tag. Dude, sign the franchise tag, get into camp, and get the season going well.
Yeah, he got $11 million. Maybe it'll pay off.
Yep.
You got $11 million. No one should be sneezing at that. You got $11 million guaranteed, where if he went on the free agent market, he probably would have got $11 million guaranteed on a multi-year extension.
Probably a little bit more guaranteed, but not much.
Anything crazy.
No. Yep. So anyway, Zach Ertz back to the NFC East in Washington. So Avonte Maddox is getting cut by the Eagles. And honestly, dude, it's not even something that we have even mentioned. When we talk about the secondary and how there is a need in the secondary, we don't even mention Avonte Maddox's name, because he honestly just hasn't been available the last 2 years.
Played 13 games the last 2 years.
Right. And he's set to make a lot of money. His cap number was close to $10 million. And I'm sure that if he had been productive and the Eagles wanted to keep him, they just would have redone that number.
Apparently,
And
they're still talking.
yeah, he could come back at not a lot of money. That according
Yeah.
to Adam Schefter, but who the hell knows that that's really true or that's just lip
It's
service.
just he's going to test the market and see what's out there, and if it's all right, I get a little pay bump if I go here, or I can stay where I'm at for a discounted number. It's going to be one of those situations.
And another team may look at him and say, "Hey, he's actually a really good player, but he just can't stay healthy. So it's worth a shot on a player." Here, we've seen him be injured the last 2 years, and it's like, damn, like can you really bring him back?
He's a difference maker when he's on the field for sure.
He's a good player, and he's versatile. His rookie year, he played safety, and I thought he was pretty good at it. So the problem is, I still don't know who your corners are. Well, the problem is I do know who the corners are, right? Bradbury and Slay are going to be back. And I can't stomach Slay more than his actual play. And Bradbury looked cooked last year. So unless you're going to really, maybe Vic Fangio comes in and says, all right, I know how I'm going to have to treat Bradbury to get the best out of him so he doesn't get exposed. Last year, I thought the secondary was, at least I thought the corners were above average. Now this year, I actually worry about it because your slot corners aren't very good either. Howie's got a lot of work to do, man.
And they already cut Byard, so you're down to So you're going to be Blankenship with the kid coming off of the ACL injury.
Well, you can't even count on him. You have to sign somebody.
Yeah,
and we know how that's went signing. At least in recent years. I mean, man, they could have honestly, they could have brought back from the Super Bowl team. I'm blanking on his name right now, the safety.
Malcolm Jenkins?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm fried, man. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh my God.
Eagles, Super Bowl. Rodney McLeod. I don't even need to get there. Rodney McLeod. Yeah. Rodney McLeod's still been good. He's still been good. He went to Indianapolis. He was very good. So maybe they could do something like that. But
there was 3 big name safeties released in the last 2 days. You got Poyer in Buffalo, Diggs and Adams in Seattle, all cut.
Yeah, Adams to me is
out on Adams. He's a psycho.
Yeah, and maybe Diggs. CJGJ doesn't make sense to me.
I would like Diggs. Diggs is something I would be interested in.
I mean Gardner Johnson. I'll say this. Gardner Johnson was a really good player. He was a bit of a pain in the ass, and he was kind of all over the place with everything. And people were mad at him when he left town, and were happy that he was gone. Some people were happy he got injured, which I thought was really a really shitty thing to say or do. But he was a good player. He was a playmaker.
Yeah, he led the league in interceptions the year he was here.
All right, this is going to be my favorite thing to hear. That's going to turn into my least favorite thing to hear. And I'm already there with it.
I'm there.
Isaiah Rodgers may be a good player. He may be a good player. And I know that he has some starting experience with Indianapolis. If you don't know who he is, he got suspended for a season for gambling on the Colts. He gambled on the Colts, or he didn't gamble on the Colts?
No, I think it was just NFL games.
Wasn't he doing prop bets or something on like how many rushing yards, or was that a different team?
Well, I think he would have gotten a lot more than just the year if he was actually betting on his own team.
Well, I'm Googling it right now. But anyway, like I have no idea, and you have no idea if Isaiah Rodgers can play a lick or not. It was a free. It's a lottery ticket. Yeah. And I hope that he does well. And it's another good name to have out there to kind of throw right into it.
Yeah, if it works out, awesome.
Yeah, but I'm not going into the season saying like, oh yeah, we have Isaiah Rodgers. He's one of the options.
Yeah, we have no cornerback issues because we have Isaiah Rodgers. Great, fantastic.
Yep. Yeah, like Isaiah Rodgers would make me feel better about anything. But like, you know what? It may end up being, wow, it's a good move by Howie. He can actually play. Because
there's definitely that scenario that can come into play.
Because he did make some starts, but I challenge anybody out there to tell me how he played in those games. Because I can't.
He also hasn't played in a year either.
Right. Yeah, no, I know.
There's all those factors come into play.
I'm already tired of hearing about like, oh, but they have Isaiah Rodgers. All right, we'll see.
Yep.
We'll see how he does.
The couple mocks I was looking at had us drafting Kool-Aid McKinney out of Alabama.
I saw it as well. Was that a Jordan Reed or I forget who
I pulled that one off the Score app is where I get news articles.
Yeah,
but
typically
they don't really draft corners in the first round.
So here's my question: are you going to use a first round draft pick when you have? And I know that there's precedent there because they did it when they had Bobby Taylor and Troy Vincent, and they drafted Sheldon Brown and Lito Shepherd. That was also 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. Are you going to use a first round draft pick on a player, and he's not even going to start? Maybe you can use him in the slot, which is fine, but he's not going to be a starter. So you're using one of his hopefully 5 years, 20% of his contract is not a starter. Just a little bit silly.
Well, they also started using Bradbury in the slot towards the end of last season. Not saying it was a smart decision, but maybe Fangio pulls something out of there, using him there, and they draft someone to be an outside corner.
No, it's a great point. So that's really how you could start. But if you're a first round draft pick, I'm not trying to develop you. You should be ready to play. I don't care if you're pick 23rd or you're pick 10th. You should be able to come on the field and play. Like what the defensive end they drafted last
year.
Yeah, no impact at all. Nolan Smith.
I'm thinking of the dude from Louisville with Chip Kelly.
Marcus Smith.
Yeah.
That poor tortured soul. Did you see he had a rough time after it didn't work out for him.
Well, no shit.
He's like, hey, it's not my fault those idiots drafted me that high.
If they drafted him in the third round and he was what he was, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, no, correct.
So we've had that conversation before with just based on what people get paid and where they're taken.
All right, where does Jason Kelce I'm trying to figure out. It's so hard because I did a radio hit. My buddy works in Portland at the Odyssey station there, the Fan, and they're trying to get a feel for where he ranks and how do you rank him, right? Like he's obviously an all-time athlete, but they were shocked that I was slotting him ahead of Allen Iverson.
Ooh, are we talking just Philly athletes?
So Philadelphia sports, like if you're doing a ranking or a Mount Rushmore, and what I was trying to do in real time with them was that there's a lot of different factors that go into the ranking. A championship should be a part of it. And in football, when you're the center, it's a lot different than being a guard on a basketball. You know what I mean? Like the impact of a guard or a quarterback probably should be more significant than a center, but also like he was a part of a championship offensive line. That was a great offensive line. It's one of the reasons why they won it. He was the captain of that. But how long they were here, Jason Kelce was drafted by the team, spent his entire career as an Eagle. Beloved as a fan by the fans, beloved by the fans, won a Super Bowl, wore a mummer's outfit, and delivered a speech at the parade. There's like he checks every box. Allen Iverson was obviously one of the best talents I've ever seen and an all-timer, but he also fizzled out in his early 30s. And the talent, he's beloved. The talent loves him. But this is what I was doing in real time was like, is Kelce over Allen Iverson? Kelce can't be over Mike Schmidt. But Mike Schmidt also didn't connect with the fans. I don't know if anybody's connected with the fans other than Brian Dawkins and now Bryce Harper than Jason Kelce did. So
I can't go over AI. There's no way.
Yeah, but why? But why?
Because AI is like iconic for the NBA in general, like on top of it, not just Philadelphia.
So, but we're not talking about the view from the bleachers. We're talking about the view from the first level, Steve.
I know, but at the same time, I don't know. He's recognized as an all-time great for his sport in general. Not that Kelce isn't, but is Kelce going to be a top 50 NFLer of all time?
No.
So AI is, and I don't know. I feel like, and he did all of his damage of his career in Philadelphia, not in other places.
Historically, he's the better player in his sport.
Yeah. So
Allen Iverson historically is the better player in his sport. And he also made one finals appearance, and they went to a conference finals that one time. And he was a great player, but I have to look just past the play. How about the fact that he was out drinking all the time and not going to practice. I mean, we laugh and we say
talking about
stuff about the
practice.
practice, and I'm not telling you that, like, not that I'm telling you that Allen Iverson should change, because I don't think Allen Iverson is Allen Iverson without all of that was associated with him, with the posse and Fridays and hula hands and drinking Coronas and everything else, the nightlife, because he was a rock star, like you had said. Internationally, the guy's an icon.
Yep.
You know, like Jason Kelce he's getting bigger internationally because of his brother and because of Taylor Swift. Now he's becoming a bigger star because of all that. Allen Iverson is the bigger star, but in this city, he's a Hall of Famer. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. So
I think he's a first ballot NFL Hall of Famer in general, and he's obviously a Philly great. But it's just, I think Iverson's on the upper echelon of that list.
Allen Iverson did carry them to the finals. I'm not telling you that Allen Iverson wasn't a great player. And it's not his fault that they didn't win. The Lakers were the better team, but they were in pretty much every game. That was an amazing year for the. All I'm saying is that this is what I was talking about live on radio in Portland, and they were like, "Oh, what?" Like they were shocked. Like Iverson over Kelce, and I'm like, Kelce's one of the biggest sports icons in this city. So, I don't know.
It's a hard argument to make.
It's difficult because of the sport,
and you're weighing two different things. You're weighing the all-time greatness of just physical ability, and then the likability.
Right? No, but that's all part of it. Embiid's better than Kelce. Come on, guys. Yeah, is he a better player in his sport? Yes, because it's basketball and he's an offensive lineman. You could have the best left tackle ever in football, and you would say the same thing about Embiid, or you would probably say the same thing about Embiid, right? Embiid was an MVP. He has a bigger impact because of the sport. There's 5 people on the floor, and he's so talented. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about when you're putting guys on a Mount Rushmore, or you're saying, where do they fall as far as Philadelphia sports history? Joel Embiid is nowhere near Jason Kelce. You're on drugs if you think Joel Embiid is above Jason Kelce. This isn't about talent. This isn't about the type of player that they are. Who's more talented? Jason Kelce is an icon in this city. Icon. You're laughing at me as I say this.
I'm laughing at this one.
Which one?
The Maxey is better too. Dude is a center. It's like, what? You're not grasping it.
No.
Nope.
Yeah, it's and I think Josh hit it right. Like if Embiid was like Kelce, right? Like the Sixers would be to a finals right now. Maybe they wouldn't have won it, but
they would have won the Toronto year. They would have won the Toronto year.
Dude, there's a mental block that team faces and that Joel Embiid faces. It's a mental thing, because then you know what happens after they lose? He sounds stupid and he looks stupid. I was embarrassed at his behavior after they lost last year. He took a shot at everyone.
He's throwing everyone under the bus.
Every year it's a different thing. 2 years ago it was, we have to get tougher, and was talking about PJ Tucker because they just lost to the Heat. Oh, we gotta get tougher, like PJ Tucker, and then they already trade PJ Tucker because he sucks. So I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, I guess it doesn't. I guess it doesn't matter if they're tougher or not. So anyway. And Embiid's career is not over. And I think, Kevin, Joel Embiid is the most talented player that I've seen in this city ever. More than Allen Iverson. More talented than Allen Iverson. I've never seen a talent like this. But he hasn't made it past the second round of the playoffs. And I put a lot of that on the team, and I put a lot of that on Joel Embiid. The times that they should have won it, when Jimmy Butler was here, when JJ Redick was here, these last couple years, they were an all right team, and he wasn't very good in stretches and deciding games. So we'll see. I saw this right here. Donovan McNabb. I saw some article that they were trying to do it, and they're like, all right, like Eagle Mount Rushmore. With all due respect to Donovan, and I know that he was the best quarterback in franchise history, and he has his number retired. No, Donovan McNabb is not on the Eagles Mount Rushmore. Please.
He definitely is the best quarterback of all time, though.
And I just said that.
I'll die on that hill.
I'm not putting Randall on there, right? I'm not trying to do that. Dawkins, yes, Hall of Famer. Reggie, yes. Hall of Famer. Jason Kelce, yes, going to be a Hall of Famer. Donovan's not a Hall of Famer. And they made one Super Bowl. And he was a good player. Donovan was a good player. He was a very good player for a while. He was. He also kind of fizzled out too and got cooked pretty quick, which can happen in the NFL. No way. No way. I mean, does Shady belong on there before Donovan?
No, in my opinion, no.
Was Shady a better player at his position than Donovan was?
Are we talking for just the Eagles or for in that era, like in their playing?
No, just at their position in their era. The Eagles' career, his Eagles' career as a running back versus his Eagles' career as a quarterback. Who was the better player?
I'll still take McNabb.
Come on.
I'll take McNabb.
There
were many quarterbacks better than McNabb. We're just talking regular season stats. Or
he was never the best quarterback in the NFL. There might have been 2 years he was top 5, and that's it. There might have been 2 years he was the top 5.
It's not like the quarterbacks that are now, where if McNabb played now, he wouldn't even be a top 15 quarterback. There wasn't as much quarterback talent back then as there was. There was a lot of running back talent back then.
It's changed for sure. Agreed, it's changed. But Shady was the best. He was the best running back in the league for a couple of years. He was special.
AP played during that time. AP was the greatest running back playing every year, unless he had a torn ACL.
I think you don't remember how good LaShawn McCoy was.
I love Shady. Shady was playing when I was in college. He was a stud, but he was never the best running back in the league.
1,607 yards in 2013. Oh, come on, man. It's 1,600 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns. How many receptions? 64 receptions for 539 yards. He had 2,200 all-purpose yards. That year he was. He led the league in rushing. What year was
this? 2016?
2013.
2013.
Dude, he's all-time leading rusher, isn't he? Shady? I don't know.
I'm not positive on that.
There's a lot of Donovan fans out there, and I would say that I'm a B+ when it comes to being a Donovan fan. I recognize how good he was, and when he came into the league, even when he wasn't a great passer, he was still he was a good quarterback. He won games. He was a dynamic athlete. And the TO year and those years, he had developed into a really good quarterback, but he just after that, it just kind of went downhill. He started to get injured a little bit, reality is that Donovan gets penalized because you don't look at the running back and judge him in big games and say, oh, the Eagles suck because LaShawn McCoy. You judge the quarterback, and Donovan gets penalized for that, even though the games that he won to get to all the playoff games, I don't think you can argue with how he played in the big games.
Correct.
His light did not shine brightly in the big games, Donovan. And that's just a reality. He wasn't the biggest clutch big game player. We know the throwing up and stuff like that. But I don't know. I would still say I'd still say Shady on that. All right, what else do we have to go ahead?
I'm just trying to figure out a reference to who was playing with who in those years. But I'm going to need more time. I'm just trying to who were the other top running backs in McCoy's prime and the other top quarterbacks during.
All right, so let's just do this, because would you say that that's McCoy's prime, 2013? He led.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure out what grouping of years I want to look at to. But it's hard to do it on the fly.
I'll just do 2013 rushing, and then you can kind of decide from there. Marshawn Lynch, Matt Forte.
So 2013 was the only year he led the league in rushing.
Correct.
And then he had a 1,300 season, a 1,200 season, 1,100 yard, or 2 1,300 yard seasons, a 1,200 and 1,100 yard season.
All right, so let's look at these 5 years, because he was injured in 2012, so he only played in 12 games. But he had his second year, he had 1,080. Next year, 1,309, 840. Then he had 1,607 and 1,319.
Okay, I'm just going to match you with AP. 2012, he had 2,000, then just under 1,300, got hurt, came back just under 1,500.
Well, he's a better running back. He's a better running back.
And that's the end of his career, split. And that's up against McCoy.
Take the 5 best years of Shady and put it up against the 5 best years of somebody else during that era. It doesn't exactly have to match up. He was one of the best running backs in the league.
Agreed. Agreed.
And then he came back in Buffalo had almost 1,300 yards and then had 1,138 yards. And that's tough to do as a running back. Man, he's a borderline Hall of Famer, isn't he? LaShawn McCoy, I don't think he is, but he's borderline, just like Donovan.
See, the thing is, he'll probably make it before McNabb ever will. McCoy has a shot. McNabb doesn't.
And you know why? Because he didn't stick around long enough to compile yards like a lot of these quarterbacks did. Like I'll take Donovan McNabb right now every day over Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers never won squat. You know what he did?
That's a tough one.
He stuck around for a long time. Just look at his playoff record. He stuck around for a long time, and he compiled yards and stats. That's all that he did. They weren't winning games. He wasn't a difference maker. Maybe they limped into a wild card or something like that. But Donovan, for the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, you got to go all the way to 2008. He was 2009 for a decade. He was a playoff quarterback, and the Eagles were winning because of him. One of the biggest reasons why they were winning was because of him. So, boy, I'm by no means.
Did he have his warts? Of course he did. But
yes.
I don't think there was many players you could replace McNabb with and had the sustained success that the Eagles did in that time frame as if you were able to replace McCoy with somebody else. That's why my answer is McNabb.
Donovan at 34 was cooked. That's when he went to Washington. They gave him the pity pay because they said mean things about him and they put Rex Grossman in. And then they got rid of him. Remember, Minnesota brought him in, and I think they started Christian Ponder over him because he was so bad. So he was out by 35. If he plays 3 more years, even if he doesn't win, but he throws for 3,000 yards in those years, he's a Hall of Famer. It's a shame. He threw for 3,700 yards. And in today's game, guys that started 5 years ago, just because you're throwing for so many yards, it's because it's a different league. I don't know.
And you definitely got it. The league is 1,000% different.
Yes,
they're throwing for 5,000 yards a season now instead of 4,000 being the benchmark.
Yeah, you wonder what he would have looked like as a quarterback if he would have came out 5 years ago. If he was entering his 5th or 6th season right now, would he look a lot like Jalen Hurts?
I believe he would. I'm a big proponent of when you do like the year or era comparisons where the people playing now are obviously so much more in shape. The regiments start as a lot younger age, where these guys back then, like you can see McNabb wasn't always in shape. So if
McNabb, do you know the offense at Syracuse? They would run the wishbone a lot. They weren't doing read option. They were running the wishbone offense. Now they threw the ball at Syracuse. Don't get me wrong, but they would go to that. That would be a part of their running game. So I imagine not having that. Quarterbacks aren't running the wishbone or the triple option unless you go to Navy or BYU. I don't know if BYU still does it.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Georgia Tech. Right. Exactly.
No, they don't. They don't even do it anymore either.
No, they don't. No, Navy's the only team that runs that. I watch it once every
Georgia
year.
Tech just got rid of it like in the last 2-3 years.
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, they brought in the Temple coach who sucked. And I'm glad he left Temple, but the problem is Temple can't get a coach. So anyway. All right, so what else did I want to get to here to All right, so let's do it. Let's do the raccoon video. Because we tried to do this on Monday, we ran out of time. So we have the news story for you. We might play the whole thing. We might just stop it. But long story short, this town in Massachusetts, they got a call of a raccoon in a residential area that could have been rabid, could have had rabies. So the police chief sees it. Not the police chief. The fire chief sees it. And I guess they called animal control. And animal control was like, well, we don't know. We can't give you an estimated time of arrival. We can't tell you when we'll be out. We'll be out, but we don't know when it is. So I would have thought the humane thing, if you were really scared that this thing was frothing and foaming at the mouth and was trying to bite people, you shoot it. Right? Well, that's not what
that would make sense.
That's not what this guy did. He started running it over with his truck. And not just ran it over like repeatedly because I guess he didn't kill it the first time.
He backed the bus up over.
Yeah. So anyway, the thing I read tonight was that there are people that are saying from the department, but they won't go on the record, that the raccoon was blind. So the reason why it's not normal for a raccoon to be out in the middle of the day walking around town. you'll see them at night. But normally, if you see a raccoon during the day, you should be suspicious about it, right? But if the damn thing's blind, I don't even know if this is true. But I had read a story today that said that some people are saying the thing was blind, and that's why it was out during the day. It didn't know. It kind of sounds like BS. But
how would they know the raccoon was blind?
I don't.
First off, if they did an autopsy on the raccoon that just got backed over.
So here's why I think they knew, and here's why I think officials knew. Because when they went to someone's going to now pick it up, and they might have said, "Oh man, this thing's blind."
It was also just crushed by a car 10 times.
But some advocates had said, shouldn't it have been tested to see if it had rabies? Why did they just? It's interesting that it's happening in Massachusetts. Remember Spygate? You might be too young to remember what happened with the videotapes.
For Belichick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what happened.
They destroyed them.
Yeah, they burned all the tapes.
Why would you destroy the evidence if you're the NFL? The last thing you want to do is destroy the evidence.
The NFL makes no sense.
Because they want to destroy the evidence. So they get rid of this raccoon without testing it for rabies to see if it really had rabies, because they probably were like, shit, this thing doesn't have rabies. And there's a video of the fire chief backing. All right, so play the video and the.
Do you just want the video, or do you want the?
Just put the whole thing. Just put the whole thing up, and we'll see what we can play along here.
Video is creating controversy tonight, showing the Springfield fire commissioner running over a raccoon he said was rabid with a city vehicle.
And 22 News reporter Christina Demores joins us live here in studio after hearing from the Springfield Fire Department and Mayor Dominic Sarno.
We do have that footage tonight, and a warning, it may be disturbing to some viewers.
It is.
This was extremely disturbing. What are you thinking when you're running it over and you miss it and you back up and you run it over again?
Outrage over this video that shows Springfield Fire Commissioner BJ Calvi running over a raccoon possibly infected with rabies in front of the Springfield Fire Department's headquarters last Wednesday. Concerns being brought to local leaders who say this should have been done humanely.
Right now,
All right, so hold on. Here's my question. Would it even come to your mind to start running it over with your car?
Nowhere close. If I have a gun on my hip, there's no way it's close to the first thing I'm thinking of.
So he's a fire chief. He's not a cop. But I'm sure the cops could come over and shoot it. It wouldn't be the first thing. If you hit a deer on the road and it's still alive, what do you think the cop does? Shoots it, because it needs to put it out of its misery. So all I'm saying is, if I'm the fire chief and there's this rabid raccoon, or I think it's rabid, the last thing I'm doing is hitting it with a car 5 or 6 times. Like, who the hell does that?
Yeah, no. That's
all right.
Maybe he didn't want to get near it. I don't know.
Right, so let the cops deal with it. And then, so they're going to try to say, oh, he could have ran out and bit kids and all this other shit.
I think they explain why they get to it.
His best thinking is not good enough. And I think the mayor clearly should take a look at this video.
This is where the incident happened, and I spoke with the Springfield Fire Department, who told me that they did receive reports of a raccoon in distress, but they couldn't confirm if it was in fact rabid. They did say, however, that the commissioner observed the raccoon foaming at the mouth. Springfield police also confirming.
Yeah, that's what they're saying now. Like, come on, do you really believe, the honest question, do you really believe the police officers saw the thing foaming at the mouth? Or it was out during the day and they're like, this thing probably has rabies?
Get a little bit of both. Could have just had a snack and it had some stuff on his face.
That they received calls about a sick raccoon.
Notified TJ O'Connor, Animal Control, but they don't handle nuisance wildlife. They were able to contact a nuisance wildlife trapper, but they couldn't give an estimated time of arrival. And due to the area where the station is located, it's a high occupancy, a lot of foot traffic, a lot of apartment blocks around. So he determined it was a threat to public safety and dispatched it with his city vehicle.
In a safe.
I love dispatched it.
Oh.
Statement to 22 News, Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno says in part that this was an unfortunate event, but one that had to be taken in the name of public health and safety. Mayor Sarno adds that Calvi was acting within his capacity as a municipal official, as stated by Division of Fisheries and Wildlife, which allows him to respond and take immediate action where he reasonably concludes that an animal is rabid.
I think it's pretty disgusting and disturbing. Clearly, something needs to be done.
Nuts.
That's not acceptable.
No, I think this guy is fucked up for doing this.
Seriously. I could care less.
I'm not telling you he needs to lose his job or anything like that. But the fact that his instinct is to just run the thing over and over and over with a truck.
It is what it is at that point. But that woman's nuts for being like, oh, because he killed a raccoon, he's just totally batshit.
The Springfield Fire Department also confirmed with us that the environmental police interviewed the fire commissioner about this incident. Working for you tonight, Christina Demores, 22 News.
What is she doing?
A video was creating.
Anyway.
I don't know. I have no issue with the raccoon dispatching.
You should come and shoot it. What do you mean?
There's definitely better ways to do it, but
Tim, my exact sentiments. Do you really want to, even if it's the city issued car, you really want to start killing animals with your car? The fuck? I mean, seriously, who would do that? I would never do that. I'm not running over a raccoon. I mean, if it's about to bite people or it's about to attack my children, okay.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just out of the whole situation completely. That would be my take on it.
So, like, get a bat or a broom. What's it going to do? Start beating it. Like, get it out of there. So I don't know. It seems a lot to repeatedly run over a raccoon, and now it seems like that it's a cover up. They didn't test it for rabies.
I just can't believe it's that big of a story. That's my issue.
Well, of course it is.
Who cares? It's a raccoon. if it was someone's dog that people like, oh, this dog has rabies and he did that, then yeah, I would understand the story. But it's a wild animal.
You're from Delco. Have you ever had a run-in with a raccoon?
Actually, not me personally, but I was down at my parents' once, and we just heard this ruckus in the side yard, and it was our next door neighbor killing a raccoon for going after her dog with a rake.
Right, so you should do that. If it's hurting your domestic animal, it's fine.
Yes,
absolutely.
But we were just sitting there like, do you hear that? And it was just, it was this wild screech, and then all of a sudden you just hear her freaking out, going after her with literally a rake. It was actually kind of funny.
When I lived in Fairmount, my condo was first floor rear, so I had a back patio, and the damn things would be out there on the wall at night because I had a dog. So I'd put her outside, and these damn things, they hiss at you. You just see their eyes, and it's like peering over me. And it's like, oh shit. Because my dog, Lexi, was a Jack Russell, but she was a Jack Russell that would kill animals. She'd catch squirrels when she was younger. The last thing I need is her fighting with a raccoon, bit by a raccoon. Yeah, because believe me, that's the first thing she would do. She'd go crazy over it. Last thing I need to do is breaking up a fight with Lexi and a raccoon. So anyway, damn raccoons. Well, listen, I think the fire chief is a lunatic and a sicko for killing this raccoon. If you shoot it with a gun, fine. No one can come out. You can't trap it or whatever. Shoot it, fine. But I think you have to.
I think he just thought he had an idea and he went with it. And then after the fact was just, it would have been a lot easier to shoot the thing.
But also, don't you need to know if there's a rabid animal that's roaming around, and there could be possibilities of other rabid animals going around? I mean, this seems pretty odd. Now there's no other thought about other rabid animals that wouldn't he have spread the rabies to something else?
I can't believe there's a raccoon conspiracy going on in Springfield, Massachusetts.
There is. There you go.
I don't do conspiracy theories as is, but that's a little much for me.
I believe me. Hopefully, there's a follow up to it. It feels like that it has been swept under the rug and it's going to be over. But you know what? We should get that woman on the show. How great would that be? If we got her on the show, she'd probably do it too.
Oh, she would be all about it. You can tell.
Do that.
She's one of them,
dude. We should do it. I'm going to try to find her and get her on, and just get her going totally nuts for 15 minutes about it, and egg her on. How great would that be?
I can come up with some things then.
Or that's a good idea. Have Herb do the interview with her.
I'm sure Herb had some raccoon stories.
Herb might be interested in her for sure. All right, so Steve, let's go to the. So this is the championship game of New Jersey high school boys basketball. New Jersey, the championship game. It's Camden against Manasquan.
Yeah. My roommate in college was from Manasquan.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, they got screwed. Camden, we're going to play the video. So there is like pretty much no time left. As you'll see, Camden sinks a free throw to go up by 1. There's only a couple seconds left, 5.8 seconds left. They dribble down. The dude takes way too early of a shot. There's plenty of time left. He takes the shot up. There's enough time to get a rebound, put it back up, and it goes in clearly before the buzzer, but it gets waved off. Here's how it's looked. Again, this is the state championship game in New Jersey decided by this play right here. All right, so let's freeze frame it. Let's freeze frame it. Is the ball out of his hand?
Yes.
Yeah. There's 0.5 seconds left. Camden loses. Referees remaining. There it is.
Hey,
They're not allowed to use video.
I don't understand how you can have a ref conference if there's no video. Just go with what you called on the floor.
So here's why I think that's a fan camera, and that means that they would have to have suitable video equipment to where they could look at it. And that may not happen in every game. And they may not have even have known that there was video of it right there. If that looked like it was somebody that was filming it from his phone. Here, it just sucks. It's like lost. It was a bad call. I mean, I don't know if it was easy to tell on the court as a referee. I mean, just watching it on a grainy video, it seemed pretty clear he got the ball out of his hands. I don't know how you missed that call, but that's a tough one. It's a state championship they lost. That's huge for a school. A school wins a state championship in New Jersey in basketball, and they don't win it because of a bad call. Holy shit! I don't know if I could deal with that.
Yeah, that's pretty. I would, if I was on that team, I'd be devastated.
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 Furious. More than devastated.
And I just don't understand the getting together referees after the fact. They made the call on the floor, and then obviously that's after the game. It's not like instantaneously. They didn't show them getting together right away.
They made the call on the floor that it was good, and then someone had said, no, I saw that it wasn't good.
Yeah.
It would have had to have been. How you change the call and make it the wrong call is crazy.
Right. How do you make a change with no video? Like you said, they're not allowed to look at video. So how do you change two other people's minds by
somebody had to say, no, I'm positive that it didn't get off before the buzzer. That's the only way.
I would never have the balls to stand there and convince people that it didn't go in.
All right. One more thing here before we get a dinner recap from Delco Steve. So I noticed this over the weekend, and not by watching it, but just seeing the clips on ESPN.com. Stephen A. Smith needs to get a life. Stephen A. Smith, people can do what they want. It's his prerogative. He wants to work 7 days a week. He's making a ton of money, and for the money, they're going to work him all the time. He doesn't need to be staying up late for a post game of a Saturday and a Sunday game on ESPN.com. I mean, not that he doesn't have to. I just can't believe that he does. Dude, you work all week. Say if it's the playoffs or the finals, you want to work 7 days and do the post game on a Laker. I forget who the Lakers were playing, but he was like screaming and yelling about the Lakers and it was the Nuggets. I think it was the Nuggets. Might have been the Nuggets game, and he's screaming and yelling after the game about it. And it's just like, dude, it's Saturday night. Like, go to bed, go on a date, go sleep or something. Like, what are you doing? And then he was back at it again the next day. It's like, dude, this guy works all the time.
I have Stephen A. fatigue at its finest.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, but Mike D, I get it. Yeah, he makes a lot of money and they want him to work all that stuff. But even if you're ESPN, don't you want him to be more fresh for the week? I don't know. I don't need to see Stephen A. in a February or a March game, a Saturday or a Sunday game. I don't know.
I don't need to see him, period. That would be perfect for me.
Yeah, for sure. Let me see here. Saw an ex-post in Florida. Kelce texted Foles to see if he could use the Richard joke. So he asked if he could call him Big Dick Nick. There you go. All right, yes, by the way, Flag and Anthem. This is a Flag and Anthem shirt. Thank you very much. flagandanthem.com. They don't sponsor me anymore, but they did give me a ton of cool clothes. So I'll give them a shout out. Really good stuff, too. This is a heavier flannel. flagandanthem.com. Along those lines, Steve, shopeverylittle.detail.com. So don't think, I have had that up there the whole time.
I took care of that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I got you.
It's one of these nights where I'm all out of sorts with everything. I gotta get the comment out of here. All right. So one other thing, I'm gonna take my hat off for this one.
Oh, you had your Dr. Glad appointment today.
I was at Dr. Glad. You must have saw my Instagram story at John Marks Media.
Instagram story. Waiting for the highlight reel.
Well, she didn't send Jen, the girl that didn't send me the video. She took video. I guess she's editing.
It said video to come.
Correct.
So she was probably editing. She's got to edit it. She's got to make you look good. It's hard.
No, I know, but I told her it's fine. But I told him, I'm going to talk about it tonight, and I'll tell you what time so you can check it out if you're not watching it, because they may be watching it live. But yeah, I wanted to give a shout out because it's because Dr. Glad's the man. I don't even know how I would share it from here. Anyway, it's on all my Instagram stories if you want to see it. But yeah, so it's not a hair restoration, but it's where they take this it's serum and they put it in your scalp, and then they have this thing, and it's almost like a little massager, and it just goes da, 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 and it gets the serum in the scalp. And this is one of these new technologies that out there that really gives you good results. If your hair's falling out, it really reduces that. It makes it fuller and thicker. This is the third time I've had this done. I do it once a year, and it's amazing. It is. So that's where I was this afternoon. I was with my buddy Dr. Glatt and his team there, and a bunch of hair restoration procedures going on. And he said, hey, even though you're not on the air anymore, everybody that comes in always says, what's going on with Johnny Marks? Where's Johnny Marks? Where's he popping up next? So I'm still known for my hair restoration procedures.
Yeah, I think you're going to take that one to your grave, buddy.
You're damn right I am. Yeah, no, he's asking all right, how do we get hooked up with your show? And I said, all right, well, we'll do that soon.
What was the first year you did that?
So I did it it's actually been 12 years since I was
going to say you did it before you met me.
I did it shortly before I met you, and then again 3 years ago, because people say oh, well, it's not for life. Well, yeah, it's for life, but it doesn't stop the rest of your hair from thinning. You know what I mean? It doesn't prevent your other. It's taking care of the bald spot. So as I continued to lose hair, obviously I was getting thinner in other spots, so I had to go in for a touch up, which wasn't as much as the first time that I went. But man, it was looking good. Now I can't wash my hair or get it wet for 24 hours afterwards. So I have to put a shower cap on when I take a shower tonight. There you go. But visit drglatt.com or go to my Instagram story, and you can see it. And I'll put the video out there too for people to check out. All right. So listen, people are dying to know. Everybody was asking around town. I was at the grocery store today. It was what happened with Delco Steve's dinner date? I was you know what? I don't even know. So how did it go, Steve?
It went great. I was waiting for everybody to start thinking I was the reason the show was canceled because of the date going late, but that wasn't the case. I was ready to go. She was actually pissed. She was actually pissed because she wanted to chime in on all the haters.
Really? All right. Well, you're gonna have to schedule another dinner next week.
Oh, she didn't want to come. She wanted to just commentate from the other room and just.
She wanted to be live. Yeah. Well, there's not really any haters. In fact, the only hater is her, because she doesn't like Herb, as many people in the chat.
Vince, I'm not going to tweet. Give it up.
I want Herb to interview the raccoon. Now that would be an interview.
The dead raccoon before it was dead, or before?
Herb. If we brought Herb on and say, Herb, interview this dead raccoon, what would you ask him? And see what he would say.
Oh, Herb could go on and on for hours with a dead raccoon. He could go on and on with a brick wall, so why couldn't he go on with a dead raccoon?
I'm gonna bring him on, and I'm gonna get that woman on, and I'm gonna ask him to be involved in in the interview.
And then we just log off, let them two go.
Yeah, just let those two go. It'd be so awkward. It'd be great. All right, so if you didn't hear from our last show on Monday, the dinner was going to be fillets, and you say it like a Delco person. Fillets and macaroni and cheese and steamed carrots, or just give them the.
I air fried the carrots actually.
They taste good.
Oh yeah, I saw that from my buddy actually, and that's what got me back into eat my veggies. I was like, I can eat these all the time.
Little garlic salt on them, or how did you air fry?
Garlic powder, salt, pepper, olive oil, air fryer 400 for 20 minutes.
20 minutes, man.
Yeah,
and
get some like a little char on them, and then
the char.
They're not like any crunch left to them.
Oh,
yeah.
Why haven't I done that? I haven't done air fryer because I use we actually got a
big air fryer guy.
We got a second air fryer, and I hate it because when we were down the shore this past summer, it was this brand new air fryer. It's really good for pizzas and chicken nuggets, and I wouldn't even put fries in there. I have to fry the fry, but things like that, mozzarella stick, fryer food. It's really not equipped to cook burgers and steaks and things like that because my kids aren't eating steaks and maybe they'll eat burgers. So just for me and my wife, I can easily put 2 steaks in. I have another air fryer and it works great.
Air fried steak is so good.
It's good. Yeah, no, I made
I
made some ribeyes the other night in the air fryer, and man, they were even great the next day because I made them all. I had 4 of them. But yeah, so I'm a big air fryer guy. It really is good. All right,
what air fryer do you got? I got the Emerald one.
Ninja.
Oh, mine's a boss. I use it for everything.
It's the Ninja air fryer. That's the standard one that kind of looks like a Foreman grill. It's not a Foreman grill, but it looks like a Foreman grill. But this new one doesn't look like that at all. It has racks. It's really like you can't even make a burger in it. Kind of sucks. I hate it. But it's good for the kids pretty much only eat chicken nuggets and mozzarella sticks and pizza and stuff like that.
Good old days.
I pretty much use it every meal or almost every night. So there you go. All right. So you got the carrots going. You made macaroni and cheese. You had the fillets. So overall good?
Overall good. It was got all A's apparently across the board. Everything was delicious.
Now, is that an A for just dinner or is that for the entire night, Delco State?
Oh, that was for dinner. That was just for dinner. We ended up, polishing off the bottle of wine that we had and watched 3 episodes of The Wire, I think.
Oh, all right. So you're almost through the first season?
Almost on season 1. I think we have 3 episodes left.
Yeah, I was going to say there's probably 10. So far, 7 episodes in?
No, we're 10. No, there's 13 episodes.
So you're 10 episodes in.
Yep.
Do you believe?
I like it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
It's pretty
so
good.
An A for post dinner?
Yeah. Post dinner was A for post dinner for sure.
All right. There you go. Some people asking if Herb can come on this week. Herb actually called me tonight.
I'm playing a drinking game the next time Herb's on.
Yeah, no, we have to do something like that for sure. So I'm giving. I try to give my kids
normally call out of work the next day.
Yeah, you'd be drunk. So normally my kids take a shower with my wife at night, but maybe twice a week I'll be like, hey, let me give baths to them so she doesn't have to worry about showering and she can shower on her own.
Shower in peace.
Right, shower in peace. So I'll put it. They're too big to put all 3 in the bathtub, so it'll be 2-year-old and then one of my girls, and then she'll get out, and then the other one will come in. And I'm in the bathtub, and my 2-year-old's like splashing this on purpose, and she's so bad these days. She does stuff. Tonight she took the toothbrush and just chucked it. When I gave it to her, she has to brush her teeth first before I actually do it. She took it and just chucked it across the bathroom, and it was laughing at me. I was so mad. Then she wouldn't let me brush her teeth, so I have to pin her down on the changing table pin her arms down and then physically brush her teeth because that's the only way to do it. She's a major pain in my ass these days. But so I'm giving a bath and she's splashing me, and my other daughter that's waiting to get in the bathtub hands me the phone. She said, "Daddy, someone's calling you," and Herb is showing on the display.
What's their picture of Herb on your screen when he pops up?
I don't have one, but I should get one, right? Actually,
you got all these great pictures of him. Come on.
That's a good idea. I didn't even think of that.
Now,
Yes.
do you really want his face popping up when he calls you?
Yes, I do. Herb. Let me just text him real fast. Hey, Herb. Yeah, we'll get him on this week for sure. We'll get him on this week. All right, everybody. Remember, like, subscribe, follow, whatever you want to do.
Comment.
Do it. Yeah. Comment. Thank you, Delco Steve.
Comment, like, subscribe.
Yep. Comment, like, subscribe, and view previous episodes that we've done because they're normally all pretty random and good like this one. But we'll be back tomorrow. Delco Steve, have a good night. Everybody have a good night. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. See you.
Peace.